15 years ago, Mike Rose and I were being made partners. We were proposed for partnership at a big firm downtown. We were fairly new attorneys at the time, and we both had a pretty decent-sized following, people who trusted us enough to represent them at a time when they need us most. We didn't like how the firm that we were being made partners at were handling those members. We handled the cases primarily, but we didn't have much of a say in how they would go through the system and eventually be compensated. Although it would have been very comfortable for us to stay there, we decided it was now or never, and we had to make a move. If we were going to pilot our own ship and provide the best possible representation we could to those who trust us, we had to found Hach Rose, and we did so. We did so coincidentally just a couple of months after 9/11. Our firm being downtown, we knew a lot of people who were affected, representing a lot of the unions in the area. We knew a lot of people who were injured or even killed. Although it was difficult at the time, we decided at that point that it was our responsibility to represent those members at no cost. It was very unheard of at the time. We didn't have some grand scheme in place or some grand marketing plan to do so. We just thought it was the right thing to do. Mike and I, at the time, when we founded Hach Rose, we decided that we needed to have some very basic principles over and above what the New York State client's list of rights are. First one is we would never take a case that we would never sign a case or retain a case that we wouldn't be willing to eventually take to trial. That's not to say that every case we sign goes to trial. Not the case at all. But your compensation is always going to be maximized if the person on the receiving or the person on the paying end or the negligent party, the defendant, the carrier, whoever it may be, knows that you're going to take their case to trial. It will always benefit you in the end with a greater result. We also committed at the time never to make a decision on a case for our own personal financial situation. That was such a paramount principle, and it seemed so simple and probably a little surprising to hear me say, but it's the dirty little secret in this business and that I noticed in this industry very early on. A law firm, a lawyer who takes on a case on a contingency basis will sometimes, based on their own financial situation at the time, settle a case which might not be in your best interest to do so at the time. They might not want to take the risk of losing the expenses they have invested in your case for the chance of a bigger payday for you. Now, we will never make that decision for you. We will always give you the information you need to make the decision on your own. We will always commit to communicating every offer, every possibility, and every risk, so you have every possible factor you need to make the correct decision for you and your own family. The factor of whether or not the lawyer gets paid should never enter into that equation, ever. And it never will and never has at Hach Rose. We commit the resources always to ensure that we can see a case through to the end in every circumstance. The third principle should really be assumed. It's not really a principle, but it's something that Mike and I both committed to, and we're very vocal about it with the attorneys that work at Hach Rose. And that's honesty. It doesn't matter to me that if we have the biggest groundbreaking case in our grasp and they've invited us into their home after 4 other attorneys have been there or representatives from 4 other law firms had been there to explain to them that their case is worth millions of dollars. I counsel my attorneys, the attorneys that work at Hach Rose, to never give a number at the first meeting because it would be disingenuous, it would be insincere, and it would be untruthful. You don't know what that person has gone through. You don't know how the liability will play out in the case. You don't know what that person earns at the time, and you don't know how the case is going to develop, so you can never put a number on it at the outset. So we're committed to honesty, and we're committed to the respect that we should show our clients by telling them the truth, even in the event it's something they don't want to hear. And it might be something that they might react very negatively toward us for. We're just going to communicate the truth and have the faith and trust in them that they'll take that information in and make the right decision with the information we will give them, because we will always give them the truth. We're grateful looking back at what we've accomplished, because we know we couldn't have accomplished it without you, without our clients, without the trust they place in us, and without the commitment to the principles that we founded Hach Rose upon and living them every day.